hello. Welcome to Bayou Sugar Garden. Oh, this look funny. Like my head look funny. Maybe it's because of the way I got this wrap. I don't know. Welcome to Bayou Sugar Garden. I am Bayou Sugar. If this is your first time here, welcome in. If not, welcome back. Uh, Hey y'all, I told y'all I would be back. It took a little longer than I anticipated, but I had a few things that I had to get done before I can get on here and kick back and keep keying with y'all. So, um, yeah, I was enjoying myself. I was contemplating on if I was gonna go ahead and finish this, but it's so much good information that I just really need to get this out and let us continue. And forgive me for whatever technical issues we was having earlier when I was doing it. I was going live and didn't realize that we didn't have signal and the video was just playing. And speaking of doing that, let me get my other device so I can, since I am home now, and have that up so I can be aware if we have technical difficulties while we are doing this. So, yeah, we're gonna do that because I don't want to be talking and this is it's not recording or we not y'all not seeing what I'm presenting. So that wouldn't be good. So while I am setting everything up, I do want to say let me offer my apologies for, like I said, the technical issues that we were having. And I also, hold up, let me pause the video. I have it here. Dang, why didn't it go back to what I was watching? Uh, Again, I said, let me apologize for the technical issues that we were having. And also, um, I realized when I went back and watched the video, hey, gardening is great. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. I realized when I was going back and looking over the video of earlier, and we had some questions in there. I don't think I clarified some things, and I probably didn't. I should have took the time to clarify some things and explain some things. And I just assumed that some people knew certain things. And so, to be more specific, I wanted to clarify this. We're talking about insulin, but I want to clarify the types of diabetes. And I think with knowing that, having that basis of knowing what diabetes is and the types of diabetes is, it will help you to understand more of what this video is explaining that we're watching, and it help you to put two and two together and see what he's explaining. So what I wanted to clarify is, and you guys let me know your feedback. When I always do a live, it's not just me and it's not just what I say, but we all have different perspectives and we learn from each other. And I might not see it the way you see it, but we are all in this world together and we can respect each other's opinions. Welcome in, the Bud Files. Thank you for being here. Mike's Chaotic Gardening. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. I appreciate all of you. And as always, guys, if you are here, make sure you hit that like button, please, ma'am, and please, sir. And if you would be so kind to share me out, just in case YouTube has not sent out the notification, or for whatever reason someone hasn't received the notification, so that they can know that I am live, and so that they can receive this good information, because it is good information for everyone to have. And also, if you are catching a replay, again, I appreciate you. And if you're catching a replay, make sure you leave me a comment so that I can know that you were here. And I do respond to my comments. But back to what I was saying about the insulin and the diabetes. So we need to differentiate between diabetes, and right now, what we've been taught in our lives is there are two types of diabetes. But if you've been listening to the video that we've been watching so far, they have classified well, it hasn't been officially named as a classification, but there's a third type. So all of our lives we've been known about. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. This is not medical advice. Thank you so much. Do your own research, okay? I am not your medical provider. I am not your doctor. So please be sure to consult your medical provider. This is just for entertainment purposes, for information, for informing you guys. So just wanted to say that. Appreciate you, Mike. Good looking out. So, diabetes, we've been taught that there are two types, diabetes type 1 and diabetes type 2. Okay, so in my teaching, hey, make this go viral, Miss B. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much. So in diabetes type 1, diabetes type 1 is called, what I was taught, it was called insulin dependent. So that means that those people, it means just what the words say, insulin dependent. You might not hear people refer to it like that anymore, but that's how I remember what it does. So diabetes type 1 is insulin dependent, which means if a person is classified as diabetes type 1, then they depend on an outside source for their insulin dependent. So those people take shots. They have to have insulin shots because for whatever reason, their body does not make either an adequate amount of insulin, or it doesn't make insulin at all, or the insulin that it makes is not sufficient enough for the body to use. For whatever various reasons, they need some additional insulin, and that's why they take shots. Diabetes type 2 is what you will call insulin resistant. And if you were listening to the video when we was listening to it earlier, the guy was telling you about how insulin is being rejected, in different parts of the body. So if a person has diabetes type 2, it means that their body does make insulin, but it resists the insulin for whatever various reasons, and we won't get into the details about that. We're just going to try to keep this as simple as possible, and then maybe at a later date we will get into it a little bit more deeper. But insulin 2 is, diabetes type 2 is insulin resistant, which means that their body makes insulin, but it resists the insulin for whatever reason. Your body rejects the insulin that it makes, and it doesn't use it. So that means that you have an increase of insulin in your blood, and your blood sugar levels are up. So I just wanted to make sure that we are well aware of that, because in the video that we're watching, you hear the guy reference all the time. He's always saying um, insulin resistance, insulin resistant, insulin resistance. So his source or his reference point is always a type 2 diabetic. Okay, that was just my. I had to make sure that my internet is going good. Okay, so guys, just make sure that you to before I play the video, can I get you guys to confirm that I am seeing what I am seeing on my tablet by putting a 1 in the chat to let me know you guys can hear me and see me. I'm going to turn my volume up on my TV so you guys can hear it because we're going to be watching it from my TV. Because my internet is still, what's the word I want to say? My internet is on protest. Thank you, gardening is great. Okay, so I I'm not sure what you guys saw or what you didn't see because I've noticed when I do vertical lives, it automatically edits the playback. So whatever got cut off, I don't see where it got cut off or whatever. It's just YouTube just presents a whole video chopped up. Whatever got cut off. Okay, I'm back. Let me give it a second to get back. Um, um, okay, y'all, hold on. I'm coming, y'all. I had a phone call and somebody's asking me for some information, and I want to give them that information before we continue because if I don't, they'll keep calling me back. So she said, tell your kids get off Netflix. That's what I was watching earlier. It was buffering not because of the internet. It's buffering because I was getting a phone call. So yeah. How much gives you? Okay, so give me 1 second, guys, and we'll get started. Let me get this information. Just want to let us be great today, right? But we gonna get it. Okay. Let me know if you guys can hear me and see me now by putting a 1 in the chat. I'm gonna check my okay, looks like we back. Okay. Okay, she said she will catch the replay. Okay. I think we are here. Okay. Yep, we back. Okay, thanks, Mike. Thank you. Okay, so let me turn y'all around so y'all can see the video. Let me move my bean bag out the way. Y'all don't need to see that. So like I was saying, YouTube edited the video. So I don't know where we stopped and what got chopped up and all of that. But I'm going to start from right here. And we'll finish as much as we can. Can I zoom in on this? Yep, I sure can. So let's see. Let's start from here.
Fast insulin resistance, there are three things that I could take you to a clinical lab and I could make you insulin resistant in 6 hours with either of these three things. But as it settles in, if I remove those things, your insulin resistance would go away. So these are fast causes and they're fast resolution. They are stress is a primary cause of fast insulin resistance. So too is inflammation. And then lastly, and this is going to sound somewhat paradoxical, too much insulin is also a cause. And I'll end with that one because I think it's the most important. Then transition to slow insulin resistance. So anytime the body is experiencing too much stress, it will very quickly become insulin resistant. Now, as a professor who teaches endocrinology, no surprise, I define stress in the context of hormones. And there are two primary stress hormones, cortisol and what we call in the US epinephrine, or in the UK adrenaline. Those are the two stress hormones. Now, those hormones are very distinct. They have almost nothing in common. But like when you are feeling a little stressed, it's both of those, especially adrenaline slash epinephrine, that are making you feel a little jittery. It's making your heart beat a little faster. You're a little more alert. That all starts to play into a stress response. But what those two hormones have in common is that they both want blood glucose levels to climb. It's kind of their way of saying, hey, we don't really know what's going on right now, but we want to be ready to run away, or that's the fight or flight kind of aspect to stress. And so they want to push blood glucose levels up, and they do very well. That, of course, puts them at odds with the hormone insulin, because these two, epinephrine or adrenaline and cortisol, the two stress hormones, they're pushing glucose up. Insulin wants to push it down. So the more the body is has those stress hormones elevated because of, say, sleep deprivation, that's a very effective way to increase cortisol. Or they are drinking too much caffeine. That is a way to increase epinephrine quite strongly. If both of those signals are too incessant, or they continue to be present and climb, then insulin has to work harder and harder, and then we have insulin resistance. So stress is a cause of insulin resistance. But then next is inflammation. You and I were commenting about earlier about how, boy, there's a cold going around. People, it's flu season. Even then, if a person were wearing a continuous glucose monitor on the back of their arm, measuring their glucose levels, they would see their glucose levels are much, much higher, like significantly higher during the time that they're struggling with this infection. That is a reflection of insulin resistance. Insulin's having a harder time keeping the blood glucose levels in check. Anytime inflammation is up, insulin resistance will be up as well. Even in things like autoimmune diseases, there are reports in humans that document the degree to which someone has, say, active rheumatoid arthritis. Their joints are achy because of an autoimmune attacking of the joints. They will note on some days, like every autoimmune disease, there is an ebb and a flow. Some days it's good, some days it's bad. And on the bad days, if you measure their insulin resistance, it is absolutely locked with the degree to which their immune system is turned on or off, or higher or lower.
Okay, so I want to stop here just to offer my knowledge about this. So he's talking about autoimmune disease, and let me put this around to me. So with autoimmune disease, we've growing up earlier, well, my earlier knowledge of autoimmune disease, we attribute that to AIDS, like autoimmune AID, autoimmune disease. The only thing that's autoimmune disease is AIDS. When in actuality, autoimmune disease is a general term that has is an umbrella that has a lot of specific diseases under it, right? HIV happens to be one of them. Lupus is an autoimmune disease, but arthritis is an autoimmune disease. If you look up, if you Google it, you can see there are several different types of autoimmune disease. And in our research, we have found that these diseases are due to a flare up or inflammation or itis of something, right? And so, what he's saying is when you're having those flare ups, when you're having those bad days with those autoimmune disease, if you check your blood sugar, and things, or if you go and get blood work from the doctor, you will notice there is a difference in it. You will notice that insulin is not doing its job, meaning your body is resisting. It's acting as if it has diabetes type 2. It is resisting the insulin that is trying to help lower blood sugar levels. Okay? Let's continue watching.
So inflammation is another cause. And then the last one of the fast lane of insulin resistance is too much insulin itself. Now, the astute listener will realize the kind of
Right,
circular
Mike.
thing I've just presented by
Inflammation
invoking
causes
high insulin as a
most of
cause of
diseases.
insulin resistance, because they will also think, but wait a minute, Ben, you just said that high insulin is also a consequence of insulin resistance. That, back to the bouncer knocking on the door of the muscle cell, if one bouncer wasn't enough, or one molecule of insulin wasn't enough, the body will say, okay, well, let's send 10 molecules of insulin. So high insulin is both a consequence of insulin resistance, but it's also a cause. And this is reflective of a fundamental principle in all of biology, that if there is too much of a stimulus, a cell, if it's capable, will try to become resistant to that stimulus. This would be like a funny analogy of in the Bickman home. My darling wife is home with the children. That is what she wants to do. She is full-time mom. When I'm home, and I try to be home as much as I can, it's funny for me to note the difference in how quickly we each respond to our children. I will hear my child saying, "Mom, Mom, Mom," and she's not responding. Mom has heard this for so much that she's become kind of selectively deaf to when my children are demanding her attention. I'm not as around my children quite as much because I'm working during the day. And so when I hear that, it's a very fresh signal to me. I've not heard it so much that I become deaf to it. And so I will respond even though I'm in the other room, because I'm so much more sensitive to the clamoring for attention. This is like the body in response to insulin. If there is always insulin, it's always going up, always going up, the body will start to say, the muscle cell will start to say, boy, insulin, you are knocking on my door all the time.
Hey,
This is
Homesteader
getting old.
Rachel.
I'm not responding anymore. I'm not going to listen